Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope that you guys are having a great morning so far. Hope that you're ready to start out a new week. For those of you who start your new weeks on Sunday, I hope you're ready to start a new week. Uh, Hope that you have uh, a certain level of intent as far as what it is you plan to accomplish in the coming week that will ultimately culminate in you reaching your mid and long term goals. Everything should have purpose in your life. I'm the person that believes that every second of the day has purpose. Even when it's relaxation, even when it's sleep and recovery, the smallest thing, everything should be done with intent. I've heard it said before that when you choose to live your life casually, you end up becoming a casualty. And I believe that. I believe that your life has to have intent, and the more intent you can apply to it. And this doesn't mean every moment is pressure filled. It means that it has meaning and that you get the most out of every moment by giving it meaning. You know, when I spend time with my wife, when I spend time with my kids, when I spend time to myself, it has meaning. When I take a nap at a certain point in the day, it has meaning and it has purpose. When I go to sleep at a certain time and wake up at a certain time, it all has meaning and it has purpose. I try to fill my day with intent and purpose so that I don't have empty moments that produce nothing. And so that's that. Um, a quick update that's not really too much of an update, but some of you guys probably saw the video from a couple of days ago when I had to stop and render aid to a wheelchair bound man who had been struck by a vehicle and people were just literally driving around him. Those of you who saw the video knew that I was obviously upset in a number of different ways. That really moved me. I've been trying to check up on him. I've gone to the hospital and I've called because I'm not a family member. I can't get a whole lot, so I'm still trying to find a way around that. Um, you know, um, and so I'm trying to figure out, number one, if nothing else, I wanted to get him a new wheelchair because that one was totally screwed up. It was no good. Um, and just make sure that he's all right because he got hit and knocked somewhere around 25, 30 feet from where I saw the shoe off. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's where he was hit at, but that's where I found the first shoe compared to where he was. There was some significant difference. So that's that. I'm going to continue to try to figure it out. I'm going to see if I can get some assistance in trying to catch up with what's going on with him. And I'll get back to you on that. But today, I just want to be real brief. I want to talk to you about something that's extremely common among people who experience high levels of success, or people who are uh, viewed as being winners in this world, no matter what game they're playing, whether it's finance, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's relationship, whatever it is, they're considered winners. And the one thing that I can tell you from an experiential perspective, from an observational perspective, from an academic perspective, is that one of the biggest mistakes that people make is in observation of their weaknesses and their strengths is to focus on making or improving their weaknesses and ignoring their strengths. You know, most people have this idea of balance. Well, I'm already strong over here, so I'm going to take these weaknesses and I'm going to strengthen them. What you're really not understanding is your strengths are a representation or a mirror into your gifts, your talents, your genius. No one is a genius across the board in everything. And so you have to find your gifts, your strengths, your talents, and that's where you double down. I'm not saying ignore your weaknesses or not trying to improve them. I focus on improving my weaknesses organically, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that. I know what my strengths are. So though that's where I double down. I double down on my strengths. I want to strengthen my strengths, so to speak. I want to ride my strengths. I'm going to operate predominantly in my strengths. And because your strengths are where you're comfortable. When you're really good at something, you're comfortable in doing it. It takes away the pressure of doing it. You do it well, so you're good in that space. But what happens is when I double down, I look at it and I understand nothing is done on an island. You do your best work when you partner. You partner with people who have strengths that are in areas where you have weaknesses. And so that that is the way that I work. I work, okay, I'm going to build a partnership to do this. I'm going to build a partnership to do that. And I'm going to use my strengths. My strengths are going to be in conceptualization and strategy, in program development, in communication. That's where my strengths are going to be at. And I am highly conceptual. I can see and visualize anything. One thing that people that work with me say is, if we bring you an idea, we know you'll put it on steroids. That's what I do, and it's just natural. You tell me, man, I want to own a car lot. I've already seen you own online car lot, brick and mortar car lot, multiple car lots, new ways of moving cars and everything. It's just the way my mind works. Okay, but that's my strengths. Well, some of my weaknesses, and honestly, is in the area of organization. I can strategize, but organizing and actually putting things together, that's an area where I've gotten a lot better because I've grown in that area organically. I never sought out to say, okay, I'm going to take an organizational course, or I'm going to take a course that's going to make me better. What I did is I found people who were natural organizers. My wife is a natural organizer, made a good partnership. Everything with me is strategic in some way. So, when I do work with partners, I look at people who are great at actually taking ideas and moving them, because I take them and I get them going. And I've done it by myself more than once. But when I work with a person who just knows, okay, this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all that, and they get in and out, and they get to making the phone calls, and they get to doing all the other stuff and putting it in order, and they're gifted at it, I get to see them do it over and over and over again in the process, and I learn it. So now it becomes a natural part of how I start to do things, and I develop it. Those areas in which I'm strengthening my weaknesses will never be what I am in my natural order. And I think one thing that we tend to do, and when we don't double down on our strength, is we try to fight genetics. We try to fight DNA. We try to fight the natural order of things. There's some gifting. To me, I tell people this all the time. No matter who your parents are, no matter how well or how poorly they contributed to your life, the fact that the 23 chromosomes from your mom and the 23 chromosomes from your father came together to create you is not an accident. There's a genetic sequence in that explains your genius, explains your talent, explains your gifting. And it's in that you're going to make an impact on the world. And when you try to do it another way because you see someone else who has these strengths and you're trying to emulate them, but they don't line up with your strengths, and you're wondering why you're struggling and you're dragging and you're not getting as much out of life as your mind tells you should, it's because you've tried to circumvent the genetic makeup of your genius. You tried to get past what's organic. There are just some things you're gifted at. If you look at any sport, let's take football. Football works as a team sport because everybody knows their role. They know what they're good at. You got some guys that are exceptionally fast. You got some guys that are good route runners. You got some guys that are big in size and strong that can protect the quarterback, rush the quarterback, stop the run, block for the run. Then you got guys who think quickly, can analyze stuff and see defenses and everything, and you call them quarterbacks. And, they develop the ability to throw, but the ability to read and all that comes from something of being able to break down and analyze in a split second. Now, that can be enhanced, it can be refined, but there's a natural order to that. Some people aren't good at doing that. And then you got guys who can read and see and move quickly laterally, and they become running backs. And all of these guys get together on both sides of the ball, and they create what you call a team. And everybody does their job well, and if you do it real well, you win. Well, it's the same thing in life. When you're trying to do what somebody else's job is, instead of bringing them in to do the job and partner with you, partnering is going to be a huge part of success. Partnering in life, in who you marry, is going to be huge. Partnering in who you're going to spend your time with, i.e., friends, is going to be huge. Partnering in business to create the strongest and most fluent possibilities for what it is you're trying to do in life is going to be huge. So you've got to understand, this is what I'm good at. It's okay that I'm not good at everything. Nobody is. You know, I want to find people who are good at what I'm not good at. Bring them in and partner. Put my goods on the table, let them put their goods on the table, and we're going to create something magical together. I'm going to grow them in the areas of conceptualization. They're going to grow me in the areas of organization, and we're going to put things together, and we're going to make it work. And it works out easier with that, you know. And for example, I'll give you something real. Somewhere last July, I'd said, okay, I want to make a bigger impact on the world. My businesses are growing. I'm okay with that. I would like to see it grow faster. Who wouldn't? But I see that. But I want to measure my success in a way other than money. So how can I do that? I want to touch 1 million lives in 2019. From the first of 2019 until the end of 2019, I want to touch 1 million lives. I want to be a positive force in 1 million lives. And so I said, okay, obviously I can leverage technology. I can leverage social media. I can leverage a number of different mechanisms that will put me in front of people no matter where they are. Okay, that's great, but I need other people involved. So I need partnerships. So before the year was over, I had made several partnerships. I've also made 2 partnerships in 2019 that are going to allow me to help the people I partnered with while they help me reach 1 million people. And see, that is how you do it. Instead of sitting up by myself, racking my brain, trying to figure out how I'm going to get it done, I simply stepped back and got out there and made it happen. You know, I partnered with a person who was going to be working with businesses, which is something that I do with Myriad Business Solutions, but now I'm going to be partnering with them. So now I'm going to have access to their clients to benefit their clients, which will allow me to impact lives that I would not have impacted. You know, I'm working with people on a one-on-one basis. I've sit up and working with a person now who does events. So now I'm going to speak to multiple people at one time. And so that's the way you sit up and you do that. So the thing is, you've got to get to that point. Another thing is in motivating you, you got that part out of the way. You're doubling down, right? But now you're sitting up and you're still not moving. Why aren't you taking action? What is it about where you are right now that has you procrastinating? The thing that I have learned is that I have the ability to visualize. I am real strong in that area, and it helps me in 2 ways. It allows me to see the future of where I'm going, but it also allows me to see the alternative reality of future. And that means if I don't do the work, what it will look like. And you know, you hear people say all the time, if you want to understand the devastation of regret, visit a nursing home or a home that deals with the elderly. Well, I had that happen to me organically. I was reared by my great-grandparents. My great-grandmother owned her own beauty salon from way before I was born. I was born and she had me in that beauty salon until I went to school at the age of 4. And still I had to come from school and come to that beauty shop until I got old enough to not have to go to the beauty shop. And the thing is, 1976, she retired. I came home for a year with my grandfather, my great-grandfather, who had retired in 72. And about a year with him, she said, I can't deal with him, I gotta go. So she went and opened up another salon after retiring in an retirement community. It was a literal community of homes, but it's nothing but people who were retirement age living in them. And she opened up a salon in this area in Houston called Pleasantville, and the name of this little community was Pleasant Village. And she did that until she was like 89 or 90 years old. So like into the 2000s. She was still doing this after 76. She decided to go back and work. And that was her vitality. That's what kept her going. And anyway, in the old folks community, I got to see things. I got to go around, be around them. Now, by this time, I'm old enough and I'm over there, I'm the little kid she's bragging about in, middle school and high school and college. She's bragging about whatever, but I get to go see them. And one thing it did is it gave me an appreciation for life. It also showed me regret, because one of the most common things that I got when talking to these older people was things they wish they would have done. And the look in their eyes, the look in their face, that thing of regret is something I never want to experience. I never want to be at a certain stage in my life and then sit back and say, if I could only go back, I wish I could have. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do everything I can. Yes, it's going to come with some bumps and some bruises, some difficulties, some setbacks, and those things that are just a natural part of the art of moving forward. And it's just what it is. But what I want to pass on to you is that you can't sit up and let things go by out of fear. The fear of failure. Man, you're going to have micro failures, but they're not failures. They're not, your micro failures aren't literally certified failures until you quit. See, I'm not going to say I never. I've rarely hit goals that I've set for myself the way I set them. Number one is I don't set small, dwarfed goals. I don't have colorless dreams and mundane visions. I have these huge ideas, and I don't tweak them and make them small to make people feel comfortable. I don't tweak them and make them small to make me feel easy. I like the urgency of now that I wake up to every morning, knowing that I've got to get down and I've got to get to it. I like the idea that I have a demand on me that won't let me sit up and waste my time. And so I go out and I set them so huge that I don't get them. My mentor told me a long time ago, he said, you're going to do great because you fail forward. And I'm like, what do you mean fail? Everybody tell you failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. Yeah, you're going to fail. It's how you define and interpret your failure. You interpret and define your failure. So it's like, what he meant by you're going to fail forward is you set these huge goals that are so far out there that most people are going to look at you and think you're crazy, stupid, and they're not going to see the reality of what's happening. He says, but what you do is you shoot for it and you give it everything you've got. And then when you miss it, time-wise, when I say I don't hit it initially is, say I set a certain goal for 3 weeks or 6 months or whatever. And I get to that point, I haven't reached it yet. But guess what? I'm so far ahead of where I started when I set that goal that I've gained ground. And what I do is I get to that and I recalibrate and I set another goal that's huger than that for another 6 months. In the process of chasing that second 6 months goal, I hit the first one. Didn't hit it when I wanted to or when I thought I would, but I hit it. Now, what's beautiful about setting these huge goals is I don't leave a lot on the table. What does that mean? That means if I set goals and I hit my goals every time, the first thing comes to my mind is when I hit a goal on time is how much did I leave? Because if I hit it on time and I got there, how much more could I have gotten if I was striving and pushing harder, trying to get something that was further out? It was too easy. It was too comfortable. I hit it. I left something on the table. So I set these huge goals that I probably won't hit, but I think I'm going to hit it when I set it. I think that it's possible. And I think that what has happened over time is I've gotten to where some goals that would have been unreachable by the time frame I set 15 years ago, I hit it now. So I've got to reach even further. I've got to know if I do this, if I have to put this much time in every day, if I have to come up with this much productivity every day to get this in 6 months, then this is what I got to do. And then I know how far I'm off and whatever as I'm going. So I'm studying making adjustments. I want every bit of what my potential produces in capacity. I don't want to leave it on the table. That's something you've got to do. You've got to stop sitting there and procrastinating and making these small dwarf goals. Another thing, when it comes to the partnerships, you're in an unbelievable place. Partnerships back when I first started doing what I'm doing, talking about partnerships, you had to go out and meet somebody, whether it was a romantic interest. You had to go out and meet somebody. You had to go out to a space. You had to sit up. You had to have the courage to walk up and introduce yourself and stand your own and present yourself in a confident manner so that the confidence spoke for you. You had to sit up and have a pen and paper or the ability to remember a number because there were no phones, smartphones to put the numbers in. You had to have all of that going just to meet one person. Now with technology, you can sit up and jump in somebody's DM and present them something. And I'll tell you something. You know, I get so many messages, inbox messages in a day just on Facebook. That doesn't include Instagram. That doesn't include YouTube. That doesn't include Twitter. And so just on Facebook, I'm just like 100. And it's, you know, from everything to, hey, how you doing? You know, check this out. Look at this. Read, you know. And the thing is, I can't get to all of them. So there are guidelines that I filter to see what I'm going to deal with. And the things that I will look at first are people who want to partner with me, not sell me something, but partner with me. Now, I don't mean that I don't look at stuff that people want to sell, but normally I'll process it and look at it and see if it's something I want, and then I'll do whatever. But the first thing I'm looking at is people who want to, and I'm going to look at them and not, you know, very few are people that I'm actually going to partner with because I'm in a certain space. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with them at all. It just means that where I'm at right now, that's not a good move for me. And I let them know in a very respectful way. But at the same time, you know, there are things like that. Now, I don't go into people that I haven't dealt with. I don't go into their DMs. Now, there was a time that, you know, I was pushing and I was sending messages to people and everything like that. And I just sit up and I thought, this is not how I want to do business. And so I decided I'm only going to sit up and contact people that I've developed some sort of rapport on. Whether I've met them in person or not is not the issue. Have I dealt with you outside of me, what I'm going to approach you about? Have we built some sort of connectivity in whatever arena we're operating in? And then I'll come to you and I'll say, hey, look, I've been thinking about this and I see that you do this and blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, let's set up a time so that we can talk. And then we take it from there. And the same thing, people come to me, you know, and look, hey, man, I love what you're doing with this and that. And I would love to work with you. And this is what I do. And this is how I see us working together. Awesome. Partner, use technology to set up strategic partnerships, strategic connections. You know, don't just be jumping in everybody's DM, though. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying think about who you want to be. Think about the impact you want to make. And then look at people who can make that happen. But you've got to have something that you're offering them. It can never be a one-sided thing. It's about balance. It's about reciprocity. And so when you sit up and you look at it, you say, okay, how can I help them? What am I bringing to the table? Even when it came into my marriage, I wasn't looking, I knew the character of my wife. I knew the character of my wife. I knew who she was from a personal perspective, from her value system. And that's what mattered to me as far as, can this be my wife? When I looked at the situation to see if it was working, it's like, okay, what am I bringing to the table? And I think that's one of the failures we have in any type of partnership is we're looking for what we can get, but we're not looking at what we're bringing. And I look at if I walk into this woman's life, can I enhance it? And how can I enhance it? What are going to be my strengths in this relationships? What areas am I going to struggle in this relationship? And yeah, you're going to struggle. What area am I going to struggle in this relationship? Well, I want to be honest with her about this area because I don't want any unfulfilled expectations. And that's where a lot of partnerships fall apart, is unfulfilled expectations or unrealistic expectations. I wanted to know who I am. And I did a lot of that, you know, sharing and everything like that. And, you know, hey, this is who I am, you know, so know this and blah, blah, blah. And, my thing is first and foremost, because I'm a personal believer that our women are extremely underprotected as a whole. And so I pride myself in being a protector. And so that's one of the things that's look, I'm a protector. We're going to get out. We're going to do this, you know, and I'm telling her where how it's going to go and who I am. And she'll tell me, matter of fact, she told me the other day, you are too protective. And I'm not bossy or controlling. She does what she wants to. She goes what she wants to. That's not it. It's just that anything gets close to her, it has to come through me. I'm filtering everything, and I will bang somebody up about my wife and my kids. No matter how old they are, I will bang somebody up about them. That's my job to protect. That's a strength of mine. I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to go to work to provide. You know, and the thing is, this is to men. There's a lot of pressure on you, especially if you're a black man. There's a lot of pressure on you to be a provider in a world that doesn't give you a lot of opportunities. Let me explain something to you. Before people can appreciate you in any area, whether it's being a protector, provider, a spiritual and emotional covering, what you have to understand is you've got to see it in yourself. And it starts with intent. You've got to, if you're getting up every day and you're busting your butt, you're going out there and you're trying to make it happen. You're putting your family first. You're putting your woman first. You're putting your kids before yourself. And you're sitting up and you're putting in the work. First of all, the seeds you're planting will come to fruition. Second of all, you've got to see the progress in your mindset, because there's a bunch of people that's not going to put anybody before themselves. They're going to be selfish. They have a narcissistic mindset, and they're going to put themselves above everything else. So just the idea that you're out doing something and you're busting your behind, that's something that you need to look at yourself. It doesn't mean you've arrived. It doesn't mean that you're doing everything that you want to do, but it means you're on the right track. You got to do that, because sometimes you're not going to be acknowledged for it, and you got to be okay with that, because the expectation is for you to be able to do it all. And if you can't do it all, you might not be acknowledged, but you got to see what you're doing, because before you can do it all, you got to do some. And so that's just, and that's with life in any area. You know, don't get so frustrated with yourself that you shut down because you don't have this, or this yet. You've got to sit up and say in your mind, I'm on my way. I'm in process and I'm making progress. And that's how you get it. Look, I'm going to say this and I'm going to get off. God, the universe, life, however you look at it, will pay whatever price you demand of it. I'm a witness of this. But with those demands has to come a faith that's solid, has to come a level of expectations and standards that are elevated and higher than what the status quo is. Because if you want something that the vast majority don't have, you've got to be willing to do some things that they don't do. And that's the standard. I'm not going to have my standards here because that's okay for everybody else. It's not okay for me. So my standards of performance are up here. And so I'm automatically, through the standard of performance, going to have a certain expectation of myself and how I carry myself daily. You've got to place the demand on life, the demand on the universe, the demand on God, but you've got to meet God, the universe, life head on with this. I'm going to say, this is what I want. Then I'm going to go out and do it. I'm going to make the universe respond to my demands by the actions and the way I carry myself, by my speech, by my thought processes. Go get it. If you want it, go get it. Don't stop because it's difficult. Don't stop because people are talking about you behind your back. Don't stop because some people are trying to throw roadblocks. Don't stop out of fear. Keep pushing until you get it. With that being said, look, I'm gonna get out of here. It's awesome to be able to talk to you guys and share with you guys. I'm gonna be back later on today with some more stuff. But whatever you do, like I always say, I'm gonna live my life on full. I am absolutely going to live my life on full, and that means that I'll die on E. I will die empty, and that on empty. That's it. And the thing is, if I live my life on full, I give everything I got every day. I don't have to worry about greatness. I don't have to worry about legacy. Those things will take care of themselves. With that being said, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. I'm going to jump off of here, get some more work done, got some more content to put together, some more videos. But I will definitely check back in with you guys. You have an awesome day. I'm out of here.